Hi everyone, welcome to Healing After Infant Loss. First of all, if you are experiencing infant loss, I am so sorry. My heart goes out to you. If you have a friend or a family member currently going through infant loss, this could be a really great video to watch just to kind of find out the things to say and the things not to say. Or if you're experiencing infant loss, you can send this to friends and family so that they are a little bit more prepared as to how to broach the subject with you and how to kind of help you along your healing journey. My name is Rosie. I am not a psychiatrist or a doctor or a nurse or a physician or any kind of medical expert, but I am somebody with lived experience. I have experienced 2 miscarriages, 1 missed miscarriage, 1 late-term abortion due to medical issues. I then also had IVF and embryo freezing, and I have 1 frozen embryo somewhere in the UK. So I have experienced lots of loss in my time, and I have always come across different comments that people say to me when I'm experiencing loss. And so I thought it could be useful to come here today and share some of the things that are not so helpful and then some of the things that are more helpful and more kind of compassionate, so that moving forward less people get upset and offended by people's comments around infant loss. I honestly feel like infant loss is one of the hardest things you can go through in life, and I think unless you go through it yourself, you might not realise just how damaging and upsetting it can be. Especially if there's people around you who are supposed to love you and care for you say the wrong thing, it can be really hurtful. So today I'm going to talk about 3 things to avoid and then 3 things that you can say. Okay, so the first one to avoid is everything happens for a reason, and I feel like this is such a common phrase when anybody goes through anything hard, whether it's the loss of a job, whether it's the breakup of a relationship, whether it's the loss of a parent or a child or a loved one, or just any kind of bad situations. People say, well, everything happens for a reason. And although it, I tend to believe it does, so I'm kind of being hypocritical here, I just don't think it helps in the moment or in the situation. I think it can diminish how somebody is feeling and the depth of their pain and their grief. Saying everything happens for a reason makes it sound like this was supposed to happen. You were supposed to feel this upset and this bad and this, this amount of loss and grief. And I don't think that can feel very comforting or reassuring when you're really struggling with whatever it is you're going through, in this case, infant loss. So I really don't think that saying everything happens for a reason is honestly that beneficial or helpful to your loved ones. So maybe try to avoid that one if you can. I know that it's meant to come from a place of love and looking after that person and saying it's not your fault, everything happens for a reason, it'll lead on to better things. I just don't think that in the moments when somebody finds out that they have lost a pregnancy, that's probably the most helpful one. So maybe try to avoid that one. Okay, number 2 to avoid is at least you can get pregnant, or anything honestly beginning with at least. I think at least should be removed from your vocabulary when dealing with somebody who is going through infant loss or pregnancy loss. I think it can be quite painful because it makes people going through infant loss feel like they should be grateful that they can get pregnant, or they should be happy they can get pregnant, or they should be relieved they can get pregnant, because of course there are a lot of people who can't get pregnant. So yes, at least that person can get pregnant, but it also minimises again their grief and their sorrow that they might be feeling. I think it shifts focus from I'm sorry you're sad to, well, you should be grateful. You should be happy in this moment. You should be grateful. You should be happy that you can get pregnant. Or I don't think that is what we should be focusing on. I think it should be focusing on the loss that somebody's experienced. And sometimes saying at least you can get pregnant, it can make them feel like they're not feeling the right way, or they're not feeling what they should be feeling. Maybe they're grieving wrongly. Maybe they're doing life wrong. And I just don't think that's very beneficial, honestly, to people who are going through infant loss. I think recognising somebody's grief is really important, and you don't always have to try and find the positives in every single situation. Sometimes life is shit, and it's okay to say that life is shit. Okay, number 3 to avoid is you can always try again. And I think, again, this is meant to be like at least you can get pregnant, you can always try again, there's always the next time, there's the future, something to look forward to. And although it's meant to be helpful, I think it just takes away from the grief that somebody's experiencing right now and puts them into the future. And I think it's okay to be sad. I think it's okay to grieve. I think it's okay to cry. I think it's okay to be upset about the loss of a child without having to focus on the future of like, oh, you can try again next year, you can try again next month, you'll get pregnant again, don't worry about it. I remember going through my losses, people often said, well, you can always try again. You'll get pregnant again, it's fine. At least you can get pregnant. You'll get pregnant again, and that time it'll be fine. And I think although people are trying to, help you by moving your thoughts forwards and not thinking about the present moment, like I said, I think it's okay to feel sad in the moment and to understand that somebody has lost their child. Somebody has also lost the idea of their child, the name, the gender, their future, them going to school, them getting married, them having children, which is your grandchildren. It's not just the loss of a pregnancy is the loss of a whole scenario and a whole change of your entire life. So I think it's really, really important that we recognize that. I think this saying also makes it feel like every baby or every pregnancy loss is replaceable and that it's not that important. You know, a bit like if you lose your phone, you could just go out and buy a new one. If you break your bag, you can just go out and buy a new one. And it's kind of that same sentiment in that, like, you lose this pregnancy, just go and get another one. It's easy, just go and get another one. And you never really know how hard somebody has fought to get pregnant, whether it's months and months of trying, whether it's IVF or whatever it might be. You never really know what somebody's going through behind the scenes. So you kind of making it sound replaceable and like it's easy and like it's just a, you know, 1-2 job done, fixed it, just by getting pregnant again is not always that easy. And I think also a lot of people obviously go through trauma when having infant losses and pregnancy losses. So just saying to somebody, oh, you can just try again. I think there are kind of ways to speak to people going through infant loss, which is what we're going to jump into now, which is 3 things that you can say that will be helpful. So the first one you can say is, I'm sorry for your loss. And I think this recognises the pain and the sorrow and the distraught that somebody might be going through without trying to find a solution, without trying to brush it off as just not a big deal, without trying to kind of fix it as well. I think a lot of people try and fix things and try and make people not feel sad when they're going through a sad moment. I think it's okay to be sad. So I think acknowledging the pain, acknowledging the loss and just saying, I'm so sorry for your loss, I think speaks volumes. I think it's such a nice way to go about infant loss, especially if it's, you know, close friends and families. I think just saying, I'm really sorry for your loss. I'm just sorry. Like, I'm so sorry you're going through this. I'm so sorry you're experiencing this. Is there anything I can do to help? I think that it just speaks volumes. I think it's huge. I think it's amazing. And that is definitely what I recommend saying to somebody going through infant loss or pregnancy loss. I think this also shows that people aren't alone in their sorrow and their sadness and that they have support, rather than trying to fix the situation or trying to make it better or trying to make light of it or just saying you can try again. I think it shows people that you're actually there for them and they're not alone and that you're there to support them. The next phrase I'd recommend saying is, I am here for you. Super simple, I'm here for you. It shows that the person is not alone in their grief, they don't have to go through this alone, and it shows they have somebody there that can talk to them. I think being there for somebody physically or emotionally is one of the best things you can do for somebody, even if you can't be there physically in person, because maybe you live in different cities or different countries, especially I think these days a lot of people travel and live away from home. I think just being on the other end of a phone call or a FaceTime or a WhatsApp message, whatever it might be, is so crucial to help people get through this, just so they know they're not alone. And of course, if you can be there emotionally as well to let them talk to you about what they're going through, let them express their pain and their feelings and not try and fix the situation, not try and make it better, just listen. I think listening to people talking about their infant loss is huge. I remember feeling like whenever I spoke about it, I would make other people upset. People around me would be upset. So I felt like I couldn't talk about it, and I felt like I was sort of the dampener, or like the party pooper. Or like whenever I spoke about my loss, I was hurting other people, therefore I should not talk about it. And of course I had people that I could talk to about it, but I feel like when I started talking about it on my YouTube channel and I really shared in detail what I went through, I just found it so healing for me personally. And this was a couple of months, if not a couple of years after I went through it. So people might not want to talk about everything as soon as it happens, but I think just being there over the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, it's not just something that goes away like that, I think is really, really important. Okay, then the third one I recommend you saying is, do you want to talk about it? I think this is a nice open question. It's not saying, okay, tell me all the details, what exactly happened, you know, asking super specific questions. I think saying, do you want to talk about it? I'm here if you do, is a nice open question. People can say, yes, I do want to talk about it. And then they can feel free to talk about as much or as little as they want to. Or also they might just say, no, I don't want to talk about it right now. Maybe in a couple of days, maybe in a couple of weeks, maybe in a couple of months, they'll want to talk about it. But I think just knowing that you're there and that you care and that you do want to listen is really important. And then again, I think giving people the space to express themselves fully, all of their emotions, whether it might be that they're numb, maybe they are sad, maybe they are angry, maybe they're confused, maybe they're relieved. There's lots and lots of different emotions that come up when we're talking about infant loss. So I think just being there as somebody that they can talk to is amazing, honestly. And I think, like I said, an open question like, do you want to talk about it, is a great way to start the conversation. They might say yes, they might say no, but either way, they know that you are there for them. The 3 things to remember when talking to somebody who has gone through infant loss is to offer support, understanding, and empathy. I think those 3 things are the pillars. If you can tick off those 3 things, you're doing your job well as a friend or a family member. Oftentimes with situations like this, the words that you choose can either offer comfort and support, or they can be honestly quite painful and tough to deal with. So I think being mindful and choosing your words wisely is important. And the other thing is to validate their feelings, make them feel comfortable and make them feel supported. So again, we're not trying to diminish it. We're not trying to tell people to move on, to get pregnant again, you know, all these different things that we've talked about. We're trying to let them be in the moment and be sad and be whatever it is they're feeling, and feeling like they can come to you and they can talk to you and that you are sorry for their loss. Honestly, if I could get as many people to watch this video as possible so that everybody has 3 things not to say and 3 things to say, I think it would make the world of difference with people going through infant loss. I think just understanding these basics can really go a long way with helping friends and family dealing with infant loss. So to recap, 3 things not to say: everything happens for a reason, at least you can get pregnant, and you can always try again. These 3 things I would avoid. And the 3 things you can say is, I am sorry for your loss, I'm here for you, and the last one is, do you want to talk about it? So keep that in mind next time you have somebody going through infant loss. And if you're also going through infant loss, or you have done in the past, please let me know in the comment section down below any of the phrases that you would let people know to avoid, and also any of the phrases that you think helped you along your journey with your friends and family. Please do let me know in the comment section down below. The affirmation for the week is, I am not alone in my grief. I have support and love around me. And I think this is a really nice one, because I think sometimes people can say the wrong thing. Loved ones can try and make it better, try and help you feel better, or try and, you know, make you think about other things. Even though they might say the wrong thing, they do love you and they support you, and they're trying their best to help you with your grieving journey. So you just need to remember that you are not alone. You have lots of love and support around you, including myself. I am here for you. If you ever want to message me on Instagram or send me an email, I will leave all the information down below, so you can go ahead and follow me on all the different platforms or send me a message. I am here for you. But I love that affirmation. I think it's a really good one for this week. And the book recommendation for this week is option B, Facing Adversity, Building Resilience, and Finding Joy by Sheryl Sandberg and Adam Grant. This powerful book explores how to build resilience in the face of loss and adversity, offering practical advice and emotional insights. Sheryl Sandberg shares her personal experience with grief, making this book a relatable and comforting read for anyone who has experienced loss. I will leave the link down below to the Amazon page if you want to go ahead and shop this book. If you want to share your story, I am all ears. I would love to hear from you. I'll leave my website down below, which has lots of resources on there, lots of books to read, podcasts to listen to, Instagram pages to follow. I've also got some stories on there and some blog posts with lots of information. So make sure you check out my website, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want more information, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.